Hey, what's up guys, Mashin here, come back with a brand new video. If you guys, a couple months ago, we talked about what cases you should potentially be looking at if you're looking to invest. You guys loved it, and today we're back. Now, obviously, I've got my own investments, and I want to make that very clear right off the bat. If you're looking to see what I'm specifically investing into, I've got a brand new series we just started with that, but today we're going to be breaking down a lot of different price points of what potentially is the best case for you to be looking at a certain moment, and we'll do so after a quick word from today's sponsor. Are you looking to grab some of those great looking CS2 skins, but don't want to spend a ton of money on Steam tax selling off your current ones? Well, you don't have to with today's sponsor, Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is a trading website that's currently offering you $5 free if you use code MasterShiny, or an additional 35% bonus on new deposits with the code MasterShiny. All you have to do is pick out the skins you no longer want, pick out the skins you do want, and send that trade. And if you don't have any skins, don't worry, they're giving away hundreds of dollars worth of skins all the time. Now, first up here, we're going to be starting off with the worst cases, or cases you might even consider selling if you wanted to get back into the investing game. Now, we're going to be doing this with facts. We're not going to be leading with too much opinion in this specific situation because we're talking about the worst cases, which are the most expensive cases. These ones at this point really don't have a lot of opportunity. I want to show you the 6-month graph. Usually I don't even mess around with 6-month graphs, but you can see here that all of these cases are definitely up. They're up maybe 60-ish% maximum, and that's a definitely good increase if we're talking about anything other than CSGO investing in specifically cases. Cases are generally known to be a very safe and very good investment, but this is not a great return when we're talking about the certain time period we're looking at. Let's go ahead and compare that to some of the other different time periods. We just looked at the pre-2016, which had about an average 45% increase, but we can look at the 2016 to 2019 and see that it's about doubled at almost 100% of an increase. And if we want to look at the newest group of cases, you can see it's almost at 140% of an increase. CSGO cases are a great area to get into, especially at this current moment. However, I wouldn't be messing around with these cases. They're a little bit too expensive unless you're looking for a very safe investment. And speaking on the opposite of that, we've got active duty cases. Now, active duty cases have a lot of profit potential, but that's in flipping, not specifically investing into them. In my opinion, I don't think there's a ton of potential in these cases that I'm looking into, just because these cases could be here for years. And if we want to look at a clutch case, you can see that it was in the active drop pool for many years. You don't want to be stuck in that situation where you've got a ton of fracture or snakebite cases and you just have to hold on to them. While the whole market continues to increase, you may be stuck with these cases and they're really not doing too much in your specific inventory. That's why for me, they're a little bit too risky, because I'm looking for something that's going to make me a lot of profit over the long term, and the active duty cases are just a little bit too risky for me. Now, talking about the best cheap cases that you can get into right now, I've got 4 of them that I believe are a good option for you to get looking. The first of which is going to be the Prisma 1 and the Prisma 2 case. I'm grouping these together because they are relatively similar. They are coming in at the 3rd and the 4th most unboxed rare case. This is very important because that's a lot of cases being unboxed. Almost 3.3 million cases between the two of these have been unboxed in the past 30 days. That's a very significant amount of cases, making up almost 10% of the total number of cases unboxed. This is very significant because that means there's definitely a decent amount of demand for these cases. And if we want to look at the Prisma 1 specifically, you can see that the ROI is actually the 4th highest, and it's the best for when we're talking about a little bit of these cheaper cases. Usually ROI gets a little bit skewed because those more expensive cases, even though they may have a better ROI, you're still losing multiple dollars by opening them. Prisma 1, at least it's got a decent ROI in this situation, although that doesn't matter a ton for most people. Otherwise, the next option I think is going to be a decent area to look into is actually that clutch case we had just previously mentioned. In my opinion, the clutch case has a very strong long-term future. Even though the Revolution case just came out with the same gloves, Revolution case is still over double the price of the clutch case, and I don't honestly expect the Revolution case to be going down much more in price. We can see those active duty cases now have really started to level out at expensive price points, and the clutch case is now in a prime position to capitalize off of that if we're talking about the golds inside of it. Now, you do need to be a little bit careful. The clutch case has fallen down in some sort of demand when we're talking about unboxing rates over the past year or so, but that's just because the Revolution case has come in and taken some of that unboxing demand. And when we're talking about the super long term, I don't think this is relatively going to be the most important thing. And when we're talking about these cheaper cases, there's not going to be a specific perfect one. We're looking for the best option here. And the last cheap option we're going to be talking about is the Danger Zone case. Danger Zone case is one that has a lot of potential, although once again, it comes with a decent amount of caveats. Danger Zone case has the most unboxed rare case for the last 30 days, but it's It's also one that got about 1 million cases taken off the market. It's one you need to be very careful of because there's a lot of supply for this case and all of these cheaper cases we mentioned. These cases are so cheap because they're so plentiful out there, and it's something you need to be very sure of and very specific in what you're doing. With all that being said, there's definitely going to be some short-term volatility when we're talking about these cheaper cases, but if we're looking into the very long term, I think you're going to be in a relatively safe position as long as you just sustainably hold on to them, because they're definitely being unboxed more than they're being dropped. Otherwise, if you're looking at some of the mid-tier cases that are good for investing, I've got 5 of them. We're going to go a little bit quicker here. The first of which is the Spectrum 2. I really like the Spectrum 2. I think it's got a very desirable set of knives, which is why a lot of people are attracted into opening it. It's got a very sustainable unboxing rate. As you can see here, in the past 30 days, this one has been unboxed a heck of a lot, coming in at just barely over 1 million cases unboxed. It's actually the 5th most unboxed case when we're talking about rare cases in the past 30 days, which is a very nice accomplishment to go along with this case. It's got a very nice set of knives, and that's exactly what people look for when they're unboxing cases. And following up that same point, we've also got the Chroma 3 and the Gamma 2. Both of these, in my opinion, are sitting in a very similar situation. They've got a similar-ish price point between that $1.50 and $2.50 price point, which is what a lot of people seem to kind of agree that these cases have shortly leveled out at. We don't know what the long term is going to be for these cases, but they're sitting in a very similar situation. They've got a great set of knives, and the skins inside of them are a little bit questionable, but people are mainly unboxing these for the knives. I've got 2 left. One is a little unique, but the first one is the revolver case. This one, it's the last set of OG knives, and it's currently one of the cheapest options to go ahead and get them if that's specifically what you're looking for. Now, if you're looking to take the interest off of the knives, actually, the Wildfire case might just be the case for you. If we want to look at the ROI breakdown of the Wildfire case, it is the most unique in the game. You can see that very little of the actual value comes from the knives. That's because the Wildfire knives, the Bowie knives, are really just not valuable in the slightest. And actually, we're seeing a majority of the value coming from the reds, the pinks, and the purples in this case, which is not something we commonly see. But it's definitely a little bit of a change of pace if that's what you're looking for. And lastly, I want to talk about discontinued cases. Now, discontinued cases have a very strong future ahead of them. I don't think anyone is really doubting that at this point if we want to look at the long term of all of these cases, specifically the major 3 from the past operations. But the thing is, these cases are very expensive, and that's a very, very important indicator when we're talking about picking out specific investments. You don't want to invest into something and only get a 20% ROI, even though it may have gone up $5. That's just not what we're looking for in my specific investments. For that reason, I'm not really getting too deep into the discontinued cases at this current moment. I think there's a time and a place for them, and I just don't think that's right now. To go along with all of this, I want to say that this is obviously my personal opinion, and I don't want to say invest into any of these cases. I think these are great areas that you could potentially be thinking about looking into, and that's exactly what I want to do with this video, is I want to give you specific options that have a very strong future. Potentially, it needs to be your decision. But that's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.